Hi, I'm Duncan, lighting cameraman and director at Sunfacer Productions. So the other day we took delivery of another couple of little lights to add to our collection, and this is them. They're the Amaran HR672 LED light panels from Aperture. We bought the W version and the S version, W standing for wide and S standing for spot. So the first thing you'll notice about these panels is how incredibly small they are, about the same size as an iPad. So these will not be replacing our lovely Kinos or Divas or even some of the bigger LED panels that we have. We bought these with an agenda. We wanted something very small, very compact, battery powered, still put out a good amount of light, something we could just pick up and shove in the back of the car, take on a train, take on a plane, just to go and mop up those last minute interviews we had to do. And to be honest, for this price point, I'm amazed at what these lights actually deliver. We paid £167 each for these from Amazon, Amazon Prime, so they're delivered the next day, which is even better. And for that you get the unit, you get a couple of NPF 970 style batteries, you get a remote control unit, which is very useful. We'll come back to that a bit later on. You get a lighting spigot and stand adapter. You get a couple of plastic filters for the front, which to be honest don't really do very much. A mains cable and adapter and a lovely little bag to carry it all around in. And the first thing you need to consider when you're buying any LED lights is what's known as the CRI, or colour rendering index. And this basically refers to the quality and accuracy of the colour of the LEDs. You're looking for a value of above 95, and generally the higher the value then the better the accuracy of the colour will be. You certainly don't want to look at anything lower than 95, and we made a bit of a mistake a few years ago when LED panels were in their infancy. We were looking for something a little lower price and something that could be delivered quite quickly, but we didn't look at the CRI online before we bought them. Big mistake, because when they arrived there was a very slight kind of green cast to the LEDs, and they were supplied with a magenta filter which slotted in the front to try and cope with that, which should have set the alarm bells working straight away. But actually over time that greenness got worse, and no matter how much magenta we put in the front, it was still that slight green cast on skin tones, which is an absolute nightmare to try and get rid of in post-production. Now Aperture actually make quite a big thing of the fact that these lights are above 95 CRI, so much so that they've actually embroidered it prominently on the front of the carrying bags for these units. Now I'm a user, I'm not a scientist, so I don't walk around with spectrometers and other kind of measuring devices like that. I like to set the lights up, point them at white, point them at skin tones, check the overall colours, check the information that I'm getting back from the camera, and you can generally see when the green starts creeping into an image. But I must say, actually, having set these up and tested them for a while, I haven't actually seen too much green in the image, so the colour rendering is actually very accurate on these lights, which is quite a surprise for such a cheap price unit. And the other thing that was quite important to us is the output from these lights, and what Aperture have managed to do is cram 672 LEDs into a unit this small, which basically means that you get quite a high output from such a small light. It can cause a few issues heat wise with all those LEDs being so close together. Back, you'll find, does get quite warm, but the whole back of the unit here and at the bottom is a vent, so it helps to dissipate that heat pretty well. So let's take a look at the unit itself. First thing you notice when you pick it up, it is quite plasticky. This isn't going to survive being dropped, so you have to be quite careful when you're using these. The unit's powered by a couple of NPF 970 style batteries which come as part of the kit. They slot in here, and you do actually need both of them for the unit to work. You can't just run them off of one. But again, it does make the unit very cost effective. You can pick up a couple of NPF style batteries online for around £30. So you could have 10 of those for the same cost as a decent V-lock battery that you would usually use to power some of the bigger foot square panels. Which brings us to the second slightly annoying, slightly worrying thing about this product. Is this nasty little clip here. Once the batteries are on, this is the release mechanism to get those batteries off, and it's actually quite fiddly. Getting your fingers in and your fingernails in, or a pen, try and get those batteries off. It's not easy and it's not quick. So, and if there's any part of this unit that's going to snap off, then these little clips are it. It can also be mains powered by using the adapter socket at the back. Now this is a little bit loose, a little bit weak, and you do get the feeling that if it's pulled too much, then that's going to snap quite easily. So you have to be careful, and I'd suggest that when you're hanging the adapter from the lamp, maybe use a strip of Velcro to wrap around the cable, wrap around the stand to keep the tension out of that cable. The good thing though is when you've got the mains cable attached and both batteries on, the unit acts as a battery charger, so you can use the light through mains to light your interview, and at the same time it's charging the batteries, so you can use them in situations where you may not be able to have those trailing cables. On the other side of the light, on the front, it comes with a couple of plastic filters which slide down into the front and just click into place. Once they're in place, they're actually a bit difficult to get back out again, but to be honest, they don't actually do very much to dissipate the light. They're not that worth having. The only reason they are quite good, I did a bit of a botch job on this and made a huge difference to the light. I used the clear plastic filter on the front, stuck a few metal strips on the top and the bottom, went down to the local hardware store, bought some inexpensive magnets, and using those you can cut a piece of diffusion to size, use those penny magnets on those metal strips to just click into place, and there you have like nice soft light. And you can also do that with your different grades of CTO to take it down in the colour temperature scale. So if we just clip a couple of batteries on and turn the unit on, you can see that the scale on the back, there's a little dimmer switch here, moves from 10% right the way through to 99%. And another good thing with these lights is that on a lot of LED panels at the lower end you quite often experience a bit of flicker. Now I've tested these out all the way through the scale at the minimum setting of 10% right up to the 99, set the shutter speed at various speeds on my camera, and I haven't noticed any flicker at all. So again, quite surprising. I know I keep saying it, but another surprise for such a cheap unit. The lighting spigot and stand adapter screws into the bottom of the stand like this. When it's on, it's actually pretty sturdy. It's a good thing about these lights. And once it's on there, that knuckle is fully adjustable backwards and forwards, so you can have the light at any angle you want. There's also another adapter at the side of the light, so you can either have it in landscape mode or in portrait, depending on the coverage you want for your interviewee. Which brings us at last to this lovely little feature, this lovely little remote control unit, which you can use to take the power of the light up and down as you want. You can set different lights to different groups, so you can have 3 lights in one group and power all lights from that group on the plus minus to bring them all up and down together. So if you're filming several people at the same time, you want the same intensity on all those people using 3 different lights, you can use all of those lights on the same group, or you can have them individually, so you can power your backlight, your fill light, your key light, all individual on channels A, B and C. I think this is a lovely little feature, and again something very surprising to have in a light unit that's actually quite cheap. Now there are obviously things missing from this light which would be useful. Perhaps some kind of barn door system would be good, not to focus the light obviously, because you can't focus light very well from these kind of panels, but certainly to keep the light spill off of other subjects. Or even more useful perhaps would be an egg crate that just clipped to the front, so you keep the light on the subject that you're filming and off of the background. A better way to connect your lighting gels would be very useful. And you can already get a third-party produced softbox which clips perfectly around the light, specifically designed for this unit. It's about £15 online, well worth investing in. So maybe it's only a matter of time before other people start producing the egg crates and the barn doors and the gel connecting systems for this light as well. So in summary, what you've got here, it's not a broadcast studio light, that's fairly obvious, but it is very, very useful. It's lightweight. The colour rendering is fantastic, the output's amazing from such a small unit, battery power lasts quite a long time, it's inexpensive, and I think that we'll be using these lights quite a lot over the next few months, so I think that they're definitely worth investing in.